My name is Jim Finney. I'm a wood carver, and I have been a commercial artist all my life too. I've worked for advertising agencies in Grand Rapids, Michigan for a long time. Worked at Channel 13 in Grand Rapids, Michigan for 13 years. I wound up teaching and getting a teaching degree at Kent Career Tech Center. I went to Fair State University, got my teaching degree. And so I'm an artist, I'm a teacher, and I don't know of any of the other wood carvers that have a teaching background. Anyway, we have some good instructors, and it's always fun to take classes because you never know what is going to happen and how things are going to react. Anyway, I wanted to talk about gunstocks. This is what it is. It's about power carving gunstocks. I brought a variety of gunstocks tonight and talk about them. I have one that I'm going to demonstrate on. I started already on it. I kind of cheated a little bit. I won't finish it tonight, but I will be able to give you the basics. And that's what you need. Okay? Gunstocks. Where do you get them from? Antique stores have them, believe it or not. A lot of them do. And if you get a hold of an antique store and call them on the phone, guy, gunstocks, sure, run down there and get them. And that's where this one came from. Oops. This one came from Missouri. I was out traveling and ran across it. It's a Ruger 1022 stock. I know that because I looked on the butt plate and I see it says Phasian. And I looked it up on the internet. That's all they do is make Ruger 1022 replacement stocks. And so I have to get a Ruger 1022 now and fit it to it. This has a picture of an Indian on a horse. And most of my images I like to do are Frederick Remington. Frederick Remington has pictures like this, okay, out of his books. Now, we aren't a horse society. I'm not around horses at all. If I see one once a year, I'm lucky. But that was a horse society back in the 1880s. And so he was an expert at drawing horses. I lifted this out of a book, I copied it, and I put it to the size that I wanted to fit onto a gunstock. Okay, so it fits. Next thing I did is I used tracing paper, and I changed the image so that I've got a cowboy on a horse. And then I put it down in place like this with tape, get it perfectly where I want it. And I use transfer paper. I usually get transfer paper from the hobby and craft stores. Hobby Lobby, for instance. You can get white transfer paper or you can get dark transfer paper. And because the gunstock is actually about 50% on the grayscale from light to dark, you can use either one. I like white. So I have it traced out in white. And it's a pretty good image. I can see it pretty well. And then from there, I carve. Now, a lot of people just stick something down and carve on the top of it. I don't do that. I like to have it clean. The other thing I like to do is I like to make sure my gunstocks don't have any paint or finish on them, okay? And the way I like to do it, I'm going to haul this one over here. This is one that's pretty bad. I use the cabinet scraper. My grandfather taught me how to do that. The cabinet scraper, you put it on a grinding wheel and you go back and forth like this, and it creates a little burr on the edge. That's your cutting edge, and it really is nice. Now what I can do here, take this, and you can see just like that, it comes off real easy. There's no chemicals involved. You don't have to worry about strippers or anything like that. You just use a cabinet scraper. And that's all there is to it. Now, if I have a curved surface, I have some little miniature curved ones. They look like French curves. And you can get into some of these tight spots, like right around here. And you can take all that off like that. Get it right down to clean wood. Now, I do this for a couple reasons. First of all, if you try and match a stock, it's pretty hard because people usually use wood dyes. And if it's in the finish, then you're stuck. Okay, you can't do it. So what I like to do is get my stocks looking clean. Now the stock I'm working on tonight has a couple pieces of finish left on it. I did that on purpose because I wanted you guys to see what it looks like with finish on it, okay? Now I have to admit, I bought these stocks from a lady up at Everett. She came into my booth and she said, my husband passed away. I've got a bunch of his gun stocks, I want to sell them. Unfortunately, they were covered with mold, real thick mold. I didn't even want to touch them, it's like, ooh. She says, how much you give me for them? There were 5 of them. I said, I'll give you $20. She felt kind of bad, but she took the $20 and walked away. What I uncovered was fantastic. This is one of the stocks without finish. This is the crotch of a tree. Believe it or not. This stock, I believe, fits a 30-30 lever action Winchester. I'm going to find out. I'm going to take it down to the gun shop and we'll match it up with a gun. We'll find out. But anyway, it's a beautiful stock. It's just gorgeous like it is. I love that. Okay. So actually I took advantage of her. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't know what was underneath that mold. I didn't know. So when I come back to Everett this year, if she shows up, and she probably will, I'm going to give her some money for that because I owe her money. More than $20, I'll tell you. Probably give her $100 for it because they are worth a lot. And this is one of those stocks that has kind of a tiger stripe to it. It's really beautiful. Or you might call it a flame, I don't know. Very special piece of walnut this was made out of. So I'm very pleased with that. Some of the stocks are not much good. This stock came from a Chinese shotgun. It was a replica that we used in cowboy action shooting. My buddy didn't want it, he took it off, he got a walnut stock for it. This is so soft, you can take your fingernail and put a dent in it, It's terrible. And this is probably the first gun stock I ever carved, okay? I took it out of a book that I had bought about carving gun stocks, and I carved it, and I was pretty happy with it. And then I proceeded to do that to my shotguns that I was shooting with in cowboy action because you lay them on a table, they all look alike, they're all Stogers, And I thought, my gosh, I'm going to pick up the wrong gun one of these days. So I took and put a buffalo skull, like this one on here. Now this one I really did the extreme. I went far beyond what you should do. I went right through it, right where the hole comes through here. Okay, so I went right through it. But I like it. I like it like that. And then I put a feather on either side, so it's got a nice feeling to it. This is a walnut stock. I don't know what it fits. Probably a shotgun. But anyway, it's a nice sample. It's the kind of thing you can hang on the wall. And it's a very decorative piece. This one here is a Civil War stock. It's a Confederate stock. I got it from Mick's gun shop in Fort Meade. Mick always gets old Civil War rifles and stuff from people, and they're almost always Confederate. I carved a horse in here, and I left the numbers on. I didn't damage anything on it, so it still has the numbers on it. It's got a strange butt plate on it, and I've got a horse and rider on here, and I kind of like that. Now, in order to match this, I had to take acrylic paint and mix it up and rub it in and try and create my own stain, okay? And that was really hard to do, but I did get it done. Okay, now, since we have the pattern on here, this is actually the original. It's got 2 riders on a horse and still 1. I changed all that, okay? But the horse is the same because the muscles and everything on this horse are absolutely beautiful. And I can pick up from that and do a small relief carving with it. No problem. Okay, that's gun stocks. Let's talk about equipment here a minute. The first thing anybody should have is a fan, and this is one that I have. I'm not going to use it tonight. But it's very nice. It has these plastic pieces that come up and fold out like this. And then you can turn it on. It sucks all that dust up, and you don't have to worry about dust at all. They cost about $200. to $300. And you can get them for $200 from the pen company. You make these pens, and anyway, they sell them for about $200. You look on the internet, you can find deals. That's what you have to do. And that is the best box I know of right now. Okay, the other pieces of equipment, of course, are your power carving tools. I was at a show 5 years ago. I bought this unit. This is an ion lithium battery. Okay, I'm going to turn it on. Here we go. Can you hear it go? Okay, this is a rheostat on it. The batteries, I don't know how long they're going to last. This is 5 years old and it works fine. And you can take it anywhere you want. You don't have to worry about anything. So oftentimes I'll walk down the beach and, so I didn't turn that off. There we go. Okay, so walk down the beach, find a piece of driftwood and I'll carve a face or something in it, okay? And that's kind of nice. It's just freeing, Or if I'm sitting around the campfire at night, I don't have to worry about plugging in. I got my battery powered unit. I don't worry about anything like that. The drawback on it, this is a very delicate piece. So if you're hogging, you know what hogging is? Taking a lot of stock off. I bent the shaft at a class I was taking. And that was up in Midland. And all of a sudden I didn't have a power carving tool. And man, I was out of luck. But it's a Fordham. Fordham are American made and they do have a repair shop in the United States of America. They're absolutely wonderful. And so if you want to get something fixed, you just send it in. If it's Chinese, forget it. You have to buy a whole new unit. You're not going to get it fixed. While I was there, Dave Sharp was teaching the class and he had this little Fordham right here, which is a 1070. Operates on 110 volt. And you can see the handpiece is more rugged. It really works well. It's really wonderful. And the RPM, I don't know how many RPM it goes. I have no idea. Yeah, but it does work good. Okay, so these are the tools that I have. I prefer using this one when I'm carving gunstocks. I really like that. Okay, so what have I done so far? Actually, what I've done is I have taken a round bit and I have traced the image of the horse. Why a round bit? Well, round bits don't skip and hop and jump all over. Because if you take a very sharp pointed tool like this, put it straight into the wood, it's going to skip all over the place, especially if it's hard wood. A lot of the gunstocks are very hard wood. This is the hardest one. This is the one from the Civil War. So because of age, it's like carving iron. But walnut is a hard wood, and it takes a lot of power to carve it. Okay, so one of the reasons I got into power carving is that I do like knives and I do like gouges, and I carve with them all the time, but I always stab myself. I don't know why, I just do. I've got guys in my club in Ionia, they never wear gloves, and they're carving all the time, and they never stab themselves, they never cut themselves. I got a whole box of Band-Aids in my toolbox. I mean, and so I thought, well, maybe if I start power carving, I can do a little better. There's about 3 reasons that people like power carving. Number one, of course, is the fact that you're not going to cut yourself with it. Okay, that's a good thing. I'm on blood thinners, so I bleed all over the place. And if I get caught, it's serious. Okay. The second thing is, no matter how hard the wood, you can power carve it. I don't care what it is. It does do that. Third thing is, if you don't have much strength in your hands, I don't have that problem, but a lot of people I know, especially women, have trouble trying to hand carve with knives and gouges. It's probably the age that we're in, and so they prefer using a power carver. All right, what I have done, I took a ball bit, which is a bit with a ball on the end of it, and trace this around. Now I did this because when you do that, it's a very smooth curve that you're cutting. The ball bits do not skip out of place. They just kind of glide around real nice. And once I have this cut down to a certain point, then I can come in with one of these hogging bits like this. This looks like a little porcupine. Yeah. And you can take away wood with that, and we can take that wood down, all that excess wood around here, we can taper it off and run it down up to the horse. Okay? Also, I have a flame bit. This is a flame bit. It looks like a candle flame, okay? Now you can't stick it straight in, but you can pull it like this, and it'll give you a very, very smooth line, and you can taper the mane on the horse to a sharp point. Okay, those are about the 3 bits that I use. I don't use many bits. I have a bit box here. These are hard to come by. Okay, these are very hard to come by. It's full of foam in little holes, and you just punch your little things in there and it'll hold them real nice. I took my first class carving when I bought this. I went to Everett, and Howard Pucci was teaching the beginner carving class. And I walked in with this thing and I said, "Howard, I don't know anything about bits. Can you help me?" "Oh yeah." Howard's kind of a rough carver. I'm not saying this negatively because he does good work, but he doesn't do clean, smooth work. He does real rough work. And he showed me the whole thing. We'd get out these bits and try them out, and he'd show me everything. That was great. I went on to take classes from Dave Sharp, doing a buffalo. And then, of course, Dave Sterling. I did birds with him. This is up at Midland at the carving event up there. And I spent a whole week, with these guys each, and it was great. It was fantastic, And so that was a good lesson for me. So what I have learned, I am applying now. And that's how I do it. Okay, let's get going. I got this on. What I want to do is get the horse's tail going right here. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I put the point down and I gradually raise it up. And I don't know if we have a close-up of this, but you can see that we got a flowing tail. Now I can put veins in the tail. I can put the hair in there. All I got to do is lay it down and just pull it like that. And we get this smooth looking tail. I'm doing this for the benefit of TV so that we can see a little better here. Now if you slip a little bit, it's okay because you can go back over it and straighten it out, right? It does work. Okay, now with the horse's head, now that I have it a little outlined, also I can put detail in there. I want to start with the eye of the horse. So I'm going to put the horse's eye in with the bit. I'm going to bring it down at an angle. And I'm just going to try and carve the eye in there like that. Here we go. I'm doing it rather lightly. I've got the nose, pushing the nose in. There we go. And I can take the bit and go around. Now since I have a smooth line already established, I can take my pointed flame bit and I can undercut the head a little bit. Got to do that. Here we go. Come right up to the bridle here. Push this one in. Here we go. Now I don't know if we got a close-up of this or not, but anyway, what you're going to see is an outline of a horse's head that's pretty good. It's pretty clear, very defined. Okay, now the other problem we have I'm going to turn this on a minute. Oh gosh, I think I'm going to turn it on. There we go. Got it. Okay, I'm going to remove the wood right in here. I'm going to bring it up as a taper, and so we're going to turn this on. And I'm probably going to use an underhand here. So what I'm going to do, this is a rough cutting bit. It doesn't matter. I just have to remove a lot of wood very quickly. Okay. All of a sudden, we're starting to taper it. We're going from level back here to insetting it here and making a smooth transition. I don't want any bumps or jumps or anything like that. I want it to be smooth. Now, the other thing I can do, I can use a sanding stick. Now, if I got any roughness in here, I can take my sanding stick and get in there and just work and work and work until I got it smooth, okay? I don't know if you guys can see that very well. It's quite a distance. Anyway, that is the way that goes. Now the rest of the details, the cowboy head, the scarf that's flowing out. I like to have cowboy scarves going backwards in the wind when they're riding. I think that's cool. It looks good on these. I've done that a couple of times. The Indian here, he's got stuff flowing out from behind him, and that always looks good because it looks like motion that way. Okay, so I like to put that in. Okay, the other thing is that we're dealing with a shallow relief. Now we have two legs on the horse, right? This is the outer leg, this is the inner leg. Now the inner leg, here we go again. What I need to do,
You just turned it off.
oh, I just turned it on. Okay, here we go. Okay, what I need to do with that is I need to grind that down just a little bit so that I got the depth perception of something. So you're going to take her down. It's a pretty rough bit to use, but that's okay because I'll come back with a smoother bit. There we go. Okay, now, imagine this were a coin. If we're working on a coin, we only got that much to work with. We need depth. I'm doing the same thing here. This leg is going to drop back, okay? It's the leg farthest away. Okay, there we go. Now I have to come around here again, cut that a little deeper. And if I'm losing my impression, I've got the drawing, the original drawing. I can see where there's a distance, a space between the hind legs. I'll put that back in if I've carved it out. Okay, so that's an easy thing to do. Okay. Do I have any questions from anybody?
You ever paint your images?
Pardon?
You ever paint your images?
I've never done that. No, I probably should. It's a good idea.
What's the average price of a gun stock?
Average price of a gun stock, if it's a loose stock like this, maybe $10, you know. I had some students got on the internet a few years ago when I was teaching gun stock class, and they got, for $25, they got 5 gun stocks. Pretty good, pretty good. A stock like this, I think we started out at $50, and I walked out of the shop, and they came back about half an hour later, and this was in a town where it's quilting. You know, my wife is a quilter. So I got nothing to do, you know, so I walked back in, and we started talking and talking. I walked out again, came back in. By the time I got done, I paid $24 for this stock, which I thought was a pretty good deal. And she was desperate to sell it too. So it all worked out, okay. Yeah, gun stocks will vary. A lot of the gun stocks that we do are from what we call wall hangers. Everybody has a wall hanger. I have my grandfather's shotgun. It's called the White Powder Wonder, and it was made by Sears and Roebuck in the 1880s. And I don't want to fire that thing because I'm afraid it's going to blow up, okay? So the only thing it's good for is a wall hanger. And you can imagine how beautiful it's going to be when I get an image on there on the stock. I mean, hanging over the fireplace, it's going to look beautiful, you know? So these are some of the things and possibilities that you have.
I know nothing about stocks, and the only rifle I ever fired was when I was in the Army.
Yeah.
But I wonder, do you reduce the strength of the stock?
No, you're only taking just a little bit off. Except with this one. This one I overdid it, okay? I went right through. But no, what you're doing, you're only going down 3/16 of an inch maybe at most. That's not going to cause integrity to fail. And what you're going to have is a personalized stock. It's something you can be very proud of. Okay, now, when I get down to where this is all outlined, then the sculpting begins. And that's where I'll take a round bit, and I'll come in here, a flame bit, and just round off everything nice and smooth. And then I'll start putting the muscles in from the drawing, okay? Because this has a lot of muscles showing. Also the bridle and the eye and all those little details that we love to do. This is like putting frosting on a cake, you know? For me, this is the exciting part. This is the fun part.